If you decide you don't want users to create their own passwords for safety reasons, because they're going to make a password called love or 1234, or maybe use their dog's name or their birthday or their initials, that's really insecure. And if you really want security, you have to create random passwords. So there is a random function inside FileMaker that we're going to use, but it creates a random decimal number between 0 and 1, like 0.02. And it's actually longer than that if you take a look at it and look at the data viewer. Add random in here. Just simply that it's one of those interesting, unique functions that has no parameters on it. So we come in here, and every time we refresh, you'll see it updates. Never gets less than 0, never gets greater than 1. I don't think I've ever seen it actually get 1. I think it's between 0 and 1, so it's never going to be 0, it's never going to be 1. Regardless, you can look it up in the online help to make sure. What we're going to do is use this to create a random integer between values that we want. So we're going to come over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to figure you want this to create passwords for people. You're not going to allow them to create their own. So you need it to be somewhere where the people won't access it. They don't need to create the random passwords. And we can do that in our interface table, which I've tucked away inside of the source tables. Or sorry, it's right up here on the interface startup. So we don't actually have one. I don't have a source table. I use this as the source table. So we'll have to go in and make our new layout. Call it interface. And I'm simply going to keep it as a basic layout here. Just put it right inside of our source tables. There we go, right at the top. And we can come in here and simply add what we need. So we need this place to put that random value. Now we don't need it for very long because you're going to copy and paste it into the security and create it as your password and then email it. And so you can make it even an email script in here if you want. I'm not going to go over that part. It's pretty easy to do. But we'll need a global field and actually create it on the wrong table. This is, again, the great thing about FileMaker is you can go in and you can change things. Oh, I made a mistake. It's not that hard. It's very forgiving. So now we can go into Manage Database. There's no fields. We're going to make X password. That'll be a text field. Make it a global because we don't have to store it permanently. Drag that field on here. X password. Make it a little bit bigger. And then we're going to go into our script. Get rid of all these logins, relogins. Make a new one called random. Can't spell today. Random password. There we go. I don't need to worry about allow users or anything. This is a developer run script. So we'll just say set field, which is what we're going to use in there, but we're going to have to do it multiple times. And we could use the while function inside of a calculation so we don't have to have that. You don't have to have a looping script, but I find it easier to work with the looping script. It's much faster. The while function is a loop within a calculation, but let's not use it here until we really need those advantages. We can run a script here that loops. So we're going to actually put that in there, loop. And then we're going to put an exit loop if. I'm just putting the basics in. Sometimes I do this to get the idea of what I want. And then I know at the beginning I'm going to do another set field because I have to first empty out X password, as you'll see. We have to first empty it because as we're looping, we're going to be adding to itself. We're going to say set X password to itself. So that's why if we didn't erase it, then it would keep making longer and longer and longer passwords. So we'll say concatenate this with, and what we want to do is put in a random function here. It's going to be int random times whatever number we want, and we'll come up with that later, but let's say it's 10. We want from 1 to 10 plus 1. That will give us a random number between 1 and 10. So what if we want between 25 and 50? Well, we'd want to put in here 26 and 25. So the addition, this is the lowest number, and this plus that is the highest number. 1 over what we want, 1 over 50. So that gives you an idea how this function works right here. That will produce, in fact, let's copy it, click OK, go to our data viewer, add it in there, and look what it's doing. Refresh, refresh. You can see it's always giving us a random integer between 25, and you saw 50 there, another 50, 25. So you never saw anything below that. Let's go back in here. Now what we're actually going to want to do here is have some information in here that tells it what to do a random password on. So it's going to be the let function. We're going to say at characters. Now you could very easily make this a field. So you could type in the characters you wanted in another field. I don't see the point. It's really easy just to do it this way. So we'll say at characters equals. I'm going to do all the letters of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now, if I miss one, no big deal, but now I'm going to do them all in caps, right? There we go. And then I'm going to throw in some numbers, right? And if you want, you can throw in, shift those numbers and throw in the characters above it. Depends what you want in your passwords. You can put anything you want in there, anything that your system will accept. And this will give us some random, truly random values once we're done. So we've got our characters. Those are going to be all the characters. Then we're going to say, okay, well, let's put our random in here at random equals int length at characters. So we can add any characters. Let's see if I can spell that correctly. I can add any number of characters here, and this will be changing what the maximum is. But it's always going to start from 1. You'll see why. So we'll say there we go, close paren on the int plus 1. I think I've got that right. Looks good. Get this part out of here. Well, we can leave that part in here. That's going to be our random function. So we need a bracket, a semicolon, and a bracket here because we have 2 declarations here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say middle at characters. I should keep wanting to put that extra A in there. And then at random. So that's going to tell the middle function, this is going to tell where to start. Where in this do I want to start? Here, here, here. And then I'm going to tell it how many characters I want to get, which is going to be 1. Close that middle function, close that let function. So it simply goes through these characters with a random value between 1 and how many characters are. I won't try to count what's 26 plus 26 plus 10 plus 10. Oh, I think I actually have it, 52, 62, 72. Looks like 72 characters, but you can add to this. It'll automatically update here and do the highest random number differently. So there we go. We got that. Actually, I think we need to put a plus 1 here. So it needs to be 1 more than what it wants to be. Oh, let's see. I forget. We'll see if we get the close parentheses at all. So and it's not really that big of a deal. You can put a space on here if you're worried, just to make sure it gets everything. So at random, so grab starting from that point or from this point, just get 1 value, and then we're going to loop it over and over and over again and exit. And again, this can be a field if you want to determine the length, but I don't see the point because you're only going to run this how you want it. So we're going to say length of password equals 10. But again, the 10 could be a field, a global field you type into. But it'll exit as soon as it gets to 10 characters. That's it. Save it. Get ourselves a nice little button there. Random password. Form that script. Now at the bottom, go to browse mode. It didn't quite do what I wanted to. I like to be, even though it's this developer layout, I like to be nice and neat. There we go. Okay, random password. So something didn't work right. I had to cancel the script. It didn't quite work right. I did something wrong. Let's see what I did. So X password to X password. Let's see what I did right. The exit must be it. Well, let's run the script debugger. That's probably the easiest way to find out. Step into it. Step, step. Now it doesn't seem to be putting anything in there, so we got something wrong with the function here. Let's see what I did wrong. I probably got a parentheses in the wrong place, something like that. Okay. Let's see. Int. Ah, well, I forgot the most important thing, which was the random function. That would help out, right? Really helps to have the most important thing in there, the random function. Okay, let's try it again. Hopefully that's it. Look at that. Got that open parentheses. Let's see if we can get with the closed parentheses to test right there. There's the open, the open. There's the close. So we did it correctly. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you want, something to appear more, you can put not manage database, and you can put more characters of it. You could duplicate this twice if you wanted to. Take these in, copy and put them in twice. So you get more of these characters if you want. It's really up to you how you do this. But there's the basics of creating a random password. You certainly can create a more sophisticated version of it where there's global fields, and maybe it keeps a history of all the passwords assigned. Maybe you put a name in there so you can keep all the passwords in here. But really, I don't like to keep a history of the passwords, because even if you're the developer, you should know the user's password. Otherwise, somebody knows the password and it's not really clear who entered the data. You could have logged on as a developer. So I like to keep those passwords unknown, but if I can assign them the password and then delete this, right? Then we're good. Then they only know the password. They have a good password, and then you can, maybe even create a script that has all the users in here. Maybe have an employees table and loops through it. And once a month you hit that button, or once every 2 months you hit that button, sends them a new random password. And of course you'll have to put them into here, but you could create in the script also that would create modify those passwords. So you'll see in here, come down here to accounts. There's your change password. If you put that in there, you'll see old password, new password. Um, you have add account, delete account, enable account, reset account pass. That's actually what I was looking for right there. So you give the account name, which could be a formula based on what records you're on in the employees table, and the new password, which could be then provided by this random password. Very easy to do, and then you can have it send a password automatically. So you literally click a button once a month, or you could even have it run randomly on the server if you wanted to, as long as these script steps are all. Let's get the other one back in there. Well, actually, we'll notice when we do this. So if we say server, you can see this works on the server. All these work on the server, so this will work fine. You can run it once a month, tell it to run every 30 days, and then look at a new random password, and it'll update the password, and you're set to go. Pretty cool stuff. So anyhow, there's the random password. Enjoy it, study it. There is an article inside the FileMaker help section that I showed you at the Claris.com website. Remember that resources section? You can find that in there. And it's just, if you just search FileMaker random integer, you'll find all kinds of people. And there's different variations of it, but this, as I found, is the simplest and most straightforward version of it. You have to type the least amount of stuff. So, but do your research if you want to find something else. But this is about all you need, really, to get it, a password in there that's random, so that people can't guess these either. You can't have it be hacking your solution.